Law Talk Radio with Todd Marquardt is sponsored by the Marquardt Law Firm and does not attempt to solve your individual legal problems upon the basis of the information contained herein. Instead, contact an attorney to discuss the specific facts and circumstances of your unique situation. The views and opinions of this program do not reflect the views of the Salem Media Group.
Order in the court. Be seated.
It's time for Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt. Todd Marquardt, attorney at law in Texas. If you're a millionaire or a thousandaire, Talk Law Radio is now on the air. Call in with your business law question, your elder law question, veteran aid, Medicaid, build a business to get paid. 210-308-8867. Or ask a question online at marquardtlawfirm.com. That's MARQUARDT lawfirm.com. And now, it's Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt.
Talk Law Radio with your host, Todd Marquardt. I'm Christiana Villegas, co-host of Talk Law Radio and event coordinator of Marquardt Law Firm that sponsors this show. Today, we are here to talk about Blue Santa with Todd Marquardt, Officer Alisia Pruneda, Officer Alonzio Hardin, and Thomas Preston, the father of Blue Santa. Thank you all for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Thank
welcome.
So the very beginning that helped us come today was Officer Alisia Pruneda, who had coordinated with us to make this event happen. But aside from talking to Blue Santa, why do we have this show, Todd?
Thank you for asking. The mission of Talk Law Radio is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots by listening to me talk about the law on the radio. The State Bar of Texas is the state agency that governs our law license, and the State Bar wants attorneys to inform the public about the law, but does not want us to attempt to solve your individual legal problems upon the basis of general information. Instead, contact an attorney like Marquardt Law Firm to discuss the specific facts and circumstances for your unique situation. Before we begin, let's start with a prayer.
Of course.
Dear God, thank you for this day and for all the gifts and blessings that you give to us. Please forgive us for our sins, for our mistakes, and for doing the wrong thing or failing to do your will. Be with all Christian families, Lord, granting us strength, mutual affection, and the grace to raise our children in faith. And please help us today as we discuss Blue Santa. Help us to use the gifts and talents you have provided for the good of your people, for our own good, and for your glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. So, Officer Pruneda, it was an honor being able to speak with you and that you could help us schedule this interview today. And why don't you tell us a little bit about the process of being able to coordinate events like this?
So my role is to help facilitate in getting the right players in the right place. And I work with a extremely high level of integrity of folks, and I feel blessed to be able to do that. So when your request came in, it was a matter, I already knew who it was that I wanted to ask. It was a matter of their availability. So Officer Hardin being able to be here is huge because of our topic, Blue Santa, that group of individuals, which is our SAFE unit, and each SAFE unit has a school services officer. We have 6 substations in our city. All of those officers are stretched, as you can imagine, because it's Christmas and it's Blue Santa.
Right.
They are just maxed. They're probably working many, many hours of the day, to include some weekends. And so I knew that while they would be so gracious to my request of asking for their time, I knew it was going to be maybe some conflicts of schedules, vacation, things that probably that I would have very little control over, that I found to be, while hurdles and challenges, something that I was willing to take on, because I kind of like facing those things head on. So when when Officer Alonzio had explained, hey, I am available, it was great. And while my other 5 school services officers weren't blowing off,
Right.
my request, they really genuinely had conflicts. So I feel very, very grateful that for any of their times and their willingness to be here. Tom came to us by way of just luck, really. I was talking to another school services officer. He was at the warehouse. Tom was at the warehouse. The email was sent like, do you need someone? Have you got someone for that? For the talk show to be able to talk about this exceptional program, to which I said, I do have Officer Alonzio Hardin. Why? Are you available? To which Tom then was like on the phone with me, very willing, very
Tom,
able.
thanks for working in the warehouse that day.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark, for
So
for
timing
doing
is
it.
everything, and I think
Yeah.
that Tom was in the right place at the right time. So just very grateful that you extended to us, the department, the ability to be here, the willingness for these men to be able to step up and share such a great program.
Well, the office of the San Antonio Police Department was really helpful in being able to get me the correct number and person of contact to then bring us Officer Harding. Thank you for taking time out of your day and service to the city. Why don't you share a little bit with us? I know that we're on a time constraint, actually. When is the application to apply for Blue Santa going to be over?
Well, the application, it starts November the 1st, but we extended it one more week, so it ends on December the 8th.
Oh, okay.
So we just have a couple of days left to get those applications in, and again, just be able to go to any of the nearest substation closest to where they live and fill out an application, provide proper ID, and have the birth certificates for the kids, and we will do our best to make sure that Christmas is brought to those homes.
Generally, this is for low-income families.
Yes, generally, we do reach out to the needy, so to speak, or the low income, and that's how it happens. But they're still able to either come in and apply, and once they get their names on the list, the police officers are coming out to that location.
And they can apply online. What's that website?
That website is San Antonio Blue Santa .org, I believe. Yeah, it's .org. SAPDBlueSanta.org.
And then there's a link that says how to apply or something like that.
Yes, there is a link on there that tells them how to apply. Preferably, we tend to want the individuals to come to the substation because it's a walk-in and they can complete the application.
Oh, okay.
And that way we're able to verify not only the parents but the address and location.
So if you're tuning in right now in the middle of your Christmas shopping and you're changing the channel, this is Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt. We are interviewing our officers of San Antonio to help us understand what the Blue Santa program is and how low-income families can be able to sign up. And that website again, Officer Hardin?
Is SAPDBlueSanta.org.
All right, well, thank you very much for giving us this information.
Let's talk to Tom about how this whole thing got started.
Well, Mark, thanks for inviting me. When you talk about being at the right place at the right time, it seems that's the story of my life, and I'm very, very, very blessed. We had a unique history. I was assigned to the then San Antonio Police Department's Community Relations Bureau. That bureau no longer exists. Back in 1989, the SAPE program came in, so most of the officers we was kind of duplicating roles, so most of the officers in community relations went to the SAFE officers, the SAFE program, and I went to school services. But this is how it started. In community relations, our job was primarily to work in the low-income housing projects, and we were all assigned all over the city of San Antonio. And on Saturday mornings, we would go out to Victoria Courts and play sports with the kids, and we got to know them. So the first year, 1975, what we did is we fed the janitors at the San Antonio Police Department and the janitors that worked at City Hall, and we gave a couple of presents to a few kids that we knew. The next year, we fed the janitors again. This time, we got 3 or 4 families, and we said, let's really do something good for them, and we did. And it just grew from there, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And we I think that this program was supposed to just take off because it's a good program. It's a super good program. It provides the families that may have a different view of the policeman to see them in a different light. Oftentimes, I know that we did this. We would go deliver food and toys to families that we've had to go in there and take on the role of a policeman, and that's just part of it. And working with the kids is just amazing. I got so many stories I could tell you, but if you ask, I'll tell you a couple of them.
Okay.
Let me tell you a really good story.
Absolutely.
That's why we're here.
This happened in 1987. My wife was 9 months pregnant, ready to have a baby any minute. She and I were walking around San Juan Homes housing projects at 10:30 at night, passing out, this was Christmas Eve, passing out toys. We had 4 or 5 bags to give. Went home at 2 o'clock in the morning. She says, I think I'm gonna have this baby. So, we went to the hospital, we had the baby the next day. But anyway, this is one of my favorite stories because I had a child as a result of walking around and getting her moving enough to get that baby going. But it's a little bit more. In 1989, the Community Relations Bureau was disbanded, and we went to different units. I took the San Antonio Blue Santa program and the Police Explorer program, which I started in 1974 with me to school services. Thank God that we had Chief Gibson. It was a wonderful man. Without him making this move, and Lieutenant Burrier, who I work for, it just wouldn't happen. And they pushed the program. And what's great, all the other chiefs that followed has been right on top of it. Chief Philippus was amazing. It was amazing. He even bungee jumped for me wearing the Blue Santa costume.
No way.
He did. They asked me to do it. I said, Chief, I can't do that. Was it what's that park off of 10 and
Fiesta, Texas?
Fiesta, Texas. Yeah, they had this bungee thing, and they wanted me to do it. And I said, Chief, I can't do it. I have a hip replacement.
Oh,
so
goodness.
He did it. And the hat went this way, and he went that way. The beard went over there, and then Chief Ortiz was great. And all the chiefs since this is what make it if they didn't have the support of the management of the police department, also the management of the city of San Antonio. Alex Presenio, who was the city manager back there, he supported us big time and just made it go.
It sounds like we have a lot of history to cover about Blue Santa and how much of an impact it's made for the community. So don't change that channel. We are going to return back with Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt as we continue our interview with Blue Santa. Stay tuned.
Law Talk Radio with Todd Marquardt is sponsored by the Marquardt Law Firm and does not attempt to solve your individual legal problems upon the basis of information contained herein. Instead, contact an attorney to discuss the specific facts and circumstances of your unique situation. The views and opinions of this program do not reflect the views of the Salem Media Group.
Order in the court. Be seated.
It's time for Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt. Todd Marquardt, attorney at law in Texas. If you're a millionaire or a thousandaire, Talk Law Radio is now on the air. Call in with your business law question, your elder law question, veteran aid, Medicaid, build a business to get paid. 210-308-8867. Or ask a question online at marquardtlawfirm.com. That's MARQUARDT lawfirm.com. And now, it's Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt.
And welcome back to Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt. I'm your co-host, Cristiana Villegas, and today we are interviewing our officers of San Antonio for Blue Santa. Joining us is Thomas Preston, the founder of Blue Santa, and Alonzio Hardin, who helps us with the sorting process and be the foot on the ground to get all these presents to the children. But why, Tell us.
Yeah, why do you even like doing Blue Santa?
Well, yeah, I have a horse in the race. I grew up with a single parent in Louisville, Kentucky, in a housing project. It wasn't a really nice place to grow up. And we had the Marine Corps, Boys for Tots, come to our house, and we had folks from St. Simon Jude Catholic Church would come by and give us presents. And I can still remember my mother's smile on her face and tears in her eyes and relief on her face that her children were going to get at Christmas. So I had a beginning horse in the race, and I've been blessed all my life, and I've been giving all my life, and that's just what I do. But so, being with the Blue Santa program is very, very, very easy. And we talked about being at the right place at the right time, and it seems like I've always been there, and it just worked.
So why is it important for the police department to do something like this?
Well, because it gives them an opportunity to maybe take their police cap off and their protecting the city cap off and I'm going to give something to a kid hat, and like the average person should go through life and never ever talk to a policeman. That shouldn't happen. If you're not a victim of a crime, if you haven't been given a ticket, if it just shouldn't happen. So oftentimes, the very first time that one talks to a policeman, they develop an opinion. Well, this is the way policemen are. So, if you're a child and you see a group of policemen coming into your house with toys and food and laughter and song and merriment, and they're talking to you and you're calling by your first name and giving you a present, it's just going to put a great taste in their mouth and a great memory for that they would have for the rest of their life.
Yeah, that makes sense. Officer Hardin, I wanted to ask you next, why are you interested in Blue Santa program?
I am interested in Blue Santa program mainly because what it does for not only the community but the officers as well. It gives the officers an opportunity, as Tom just mentioned, to take that warrior mindset off and don the outfit or the armor of a guardian to where, hey, we want to be able to come into the community and show them that we're human beings and we enjoy Christmas and we want to be able to spread that Christmas joy to the needy families. And it's just a great opportunity for myself not only to interact with some officers who I might not even know, but because they feel the same way, they come, volunteer their time, and that just develops a stronger rapport between the officers. You get to sit back and talk and have a great time.
So then a lot of things that we go through in this Christmas season is often, what am I going to get? What do I want? How many things am I going to be able to see under my Christmas tree? But often they forget the key point is being able to give and finding those who are giving their time, their passion, their effort, and just a toy to a child who might not be able to get it. It's a really great thing that you're bringing to the community.
So you have a lot of officers that volunteer for this, right?
Absolutely,
And
yes.
any other volunteers involved outside the police department?
Outside the police department, as far as volunteers, we do have people that assist us, like the units, for example.
Units is
a business that has just recently partnered with the Blue Santa program, and they provide the storage place for us because that plays a big part. And then there's other donors that are out there that without their support, it would be very difficult to make this a success. So with their support and the officer support, it's just a great
I've got a list that I pulled off of your website, so
Yes.
I'll just give them a shout out while
Okay.
we're talking about it. The units, moving and storage, CPA Society, HEB, Valero, San Antonio Transportation Association, San Antonio Apartment Association, Zachary, Red McCombs Toyota, and then there was one more that I couldn't figure out what it was. That's okay.
Yeah,
Just let them know they need a more identifiable logo.
Okay, we'll work on that. We'll work on that. And something else that I wanted to mention too is on the volunteer part, the officers play a very important role because what's going on behind the scenes is a lot of sorting, a lot of packaging, and without the officers that volunteer to make this program a success, it would be very difficult. So these officers are coming in on their own time, helping us to sort many different presents, because we sort the presents.
So it's more than just the guy wearing the blue suit.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. It's more to it than that. Those officers are coming again, like I said before, giving up their free time, sorting the gifts to age and gender, and location, and so it's a working process, continuous, all the way up until the week before December, the week before Christmas.
Okay, Tom was saying something about schools.
Oh, yeah, we have lots and lots and lots of schools in and around San Antonio that have toy drives in their schools, and they give us a massive amount of toys. I remember the first school to do this was Ronald Reagan High School. I knew the principal, and we filled up 2 huge vans with toys that they gave us, and I think they're still doing it. Is Ronald Reagan High still doing their toy drive out there?
Yes, and also other places like Dollar General, and there's apartment complexes that they have fundraisers for us and give us parties. And local Union 142, the Plumbers Union, they're actually having their office party, and part of their event is to all the employees bring in toys, and then we attend, and at the end of the evening, all the donated toys that we receive on that evening, we take back to the warehouse, and we include that in the service to the community.
I read online too that you accept cash because oftentimes you can purchase toys at wholesale prices, and you get a better deal that way. So if there's listeners out there that don't want to go to the toy store, they can just give cash, and it'll accomplish the same thing to provide toys.
So if you are listening in, you are catching us at Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt as we interview Blue Santa of the San Antonio Police Department. You can visit them at sapdbluesanta.org if you want to find out how you can apply to either receive gifts, find a place to provide your donations, or just give a cash donation. But really, you should be in contact with these officers so that way you make sure it gets in the right hands.
Tom, what is it that you wanted to mention?
Well, I wanted to let everybody know that donates to the Blue Santa program, that there's really no overhead. Officers are volunteering their time. They're not paid to do this. They volunteer their time, with the exception of maybe some bags. All the monies that we get, everything that we get, we give. We don't. Nobody gets paid for this. They do it because out of the kindness of the heart and the willingness of the city of San Antonio to allow the officers to do this.
That's an important point because many charities out there, they do have overhead. They have to pay a CEO, and they have employees that they have to pay. But what Tom's saying is that this charity gives everything that they get, minus buying some bags to carry the toys around in. I had one question that keeps bugging me. Who gets to be Santa?
Well, I've been gone since 2001. I loved wearing the Santa Claus outfit. I loved it. I loved flying in that helicopter and landing at an area where there's a ton of people out there waiting to see Santa Claus. I don't do it, actually, to be honest with you, I wore it 2 or 3 times after I retired at the request of some of the officers back then. But I try to tell them this is really not about me, and it's about you guys. And I'm on the Blue Santa Board of Directors, and we manage it, the funds, and we absolutely give them what they need and support them 100%. But I don't wear that. I don't wear it anymore. Maybe I'll put it on someday. But
So how would you answer that, Officer
I
Hardin?
would answer that again with it's just the officers, depending on their schedules. When we ask for volunteers, it is just amazing to see how many are willing to step up and be the Blue Santa. So with that being said, Blue Santa can range from one officer to the next at any given time because
You said Blue Santa has many faces.
Blue Santa has many faces, and so it's just a great opportunity for those officers who may not be able to come out to the warehouse, if they're able to participate in Blue Santa and get that ride in our Eagle helicopter or the truck that is provided by Red McCombs, just to spread that Christmas joy, they step up. They get to wear the beard, the outfit, and it's just a great time.
Let's go back briefly to how to apply for this, because this is going to air right before your deadline for applications, and we want to make sure the listeners know that if they know families with children that need an extra gift this holiday, that they can go to one of these substations. And you might not have the addresses right in front of you, but if you could just generally describe where the substations are.
Well, we do have 6 substations, as mentioned earlier. You have the Central Substation, which is at 515 South Frio Street. And then you have the East Substation, which is located at 3635 East Houston. And then you have the North Substation, 13030 Jones Maltzberger. And then you have the Northwest Peru Substation at 5020 Peru Road. And then you have the South Substation at 711 West Mayfield. And finally, you have the West Substation at 7000 Calabria. And again, also on our website is all the school resource officers' contact information. So if you visit our website and you need to contact an officer, our numbers are present.
So then go to sapdbluesanta.org so that way you can find the information to apply. But don't change that channel, because we will come back with Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt.
Law Talk Radio with Todd Marquardt is sponsored by the Marquardt Law Firm and does not attempt to solve your individual legal problems upon the basis of the information contained herein. Instead, contact an attorney to discuss the specific facts and circumstances of your unique situation. The views and opinions of this program do not reflect the views of the Salem Media Group.
Order in the court. Be seated.
It's time for Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt. Todd Marquardt, attorney at law in Texas. If you're a millionaire or a thousandaire, Talk Law Radio is now on the air. Call in with your business law question, your elder law question, veteran aid, Medicaid, build a business to get paid. 210-308-8867. Or ask a question online at marquardtlawfirm.com. That's MARQUARDT lawfirm.com. And now it's Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt.
And welcome back to Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt. I'm your co-host, Cristiana Villegas, and we are here today interviewing our officers of San Antonio with Blue Santa for Thomas Preston, Alonzio Hardin. Thank you for joining us and sharing a bit about how you can be able to apply and donate to Blue Santa.
And so we were talking about where to go to apply, but during the break you mentioned that if they forget where the substations are, they could just call. What number should they call?
That is the non-emergency number, which is 210-207-7273, and just request. They'll direct them where they should go.
Let's talk about some of the toys.
Does
anybody get an Xbox?
Well,
Has anybody donated an Xbox?
so far that I've seen, no. I mean, it's just, a gift that Xbox, PS4, that would be pretty hard to get out to just a specific family or something
Right.
like that. How do we make that decision of where it goes? So a lot of the toys that are given out range from balls, bicycles, to dolls, makeup kits for young girls, flat irons for the early teens, all the way down to the infant building blocks, and toys, Hot Wheel cars, things that even multiple families, brothers and sisters, some of the games that we give out, they're able to play against each other, whether it's a board game or a table game that they're able to sit down and play with their sisters and brothers.
Okay.
Yeah, I know the kind folks from Valero. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I know that back in the day when they first started with us, they would also ask a wish list from the mom and dad. So they would take refrigerators and washers and dryers, and
Oh, wow.
there's no doubt in my mind that some of those kind folks from Valero and some other people that pick a family would take them something really, really nice. So if I was a betting man, and I'm not, I would say that an Xbox or a TV or something like that absolutely would have been given over the years.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Tom, because that was actually yesterday. The Valero group went out and delivered awesome toys and gifts, and like we said, sometimes it's refrigerators. I've seen washer and dryers that go out to these families, and again, Valero will go out with the officers and deliver just an awesome Christmas.
That's Christmas, folks, not just for kids.
And you said it's not just for people that apply. Sometimes you see a need in the community and you remember that family and you bring them a gift.
Yeah, absolutely. I have one story to tell from last year. An officer responded to an accident, and while at the accident, unfortunately, the driver, she didn't have a driver's license or anything. She was a single parent, and it was a pretty bad day. But that officer still, because he saw the need, he still put her on the list, and she was actually one of the Valero recipients last year. So to see how an officer can go from enforcing the law, but still be able to see the need and make that happen, it's just an awesome experience. And so when we arrived with those gifts from the Valero organization, she was just taken back because she just received a ticket. Her car was practically destroyed, but yet San Antonio, with the help of Valero, was still able to provide a Christmas for her, and shout out to that officer.
That's amazing.
Does this program overlap with other gift-giving programs like Elf Louise or the Marines, the Toys for Tots program? How do you deal with that?
Yes, it does. And again, we are able to have that information with our application process, and sometimes we're able to kind of bounce off the names so that we're able to streamline, who's all getting gifts, and like one family isn't getting a double dose because they did sign up. But with December being so active and so many different organizations going out there, that's not something that we just absolutely have to do. The bottom line is if a family turns in that application to the San Antonio Blue Santa program, we will do all that we can do to make that Christmas special.
And will you describe again, how are those gifts categorized?
Wow, well that's the part that I'm involved in. It's pretty much the operation. So if you can imagine a warehouse space that has tables that extend about 20 feet. And on each of these tables, we start out from infants, and then we go to 3 to 5 years old, 6 to 9, 10 to 12, and we finish up at 14.
So then it really helps making sure that these are newly packaged and bought gifts that
Absolutely.
have their labels on them telling you what age they're supposed to be for.
Absolutely, and it does an amazing thing. It helps to expedite things because the police officer, we're looking and we see that age group. It makes it so much easier to place it at where the age appropriate is, and then with that, we have another school service officers who is responsible for getting all these names And once these applications come from all the substations, Officer Mercado is the one who will input into the database, and then labels are made, and then they are placed on a table, and then the volunteers will come up, grab the bags, look at the names, look at the location, and then make the toys according to the names on the label. So it's a big process, and then from that point, they get packaged again into the units, and then units organization will deliver it to the substations, and again, that's on the backside where the other officers at the substations again will go in and get those bags of toys, and depending upon their district that they work in, if those labels line up with their district, they grab them and they go and they deliver the toys.
So if you're tuning in right now, we are not revealing the North Pole secrets. This is just Blue Santa of San Antonio Police Department. As you tune in today for Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt, we go over about how it takes this much manpower for our officers to volunteer their time. They are not being paid for any of this, just so that way they can try and make a Christmas special for a family.
I wondered, do you think that the gifts are equally divided among the whole city?
That, we do our best to do that, and again, that's based on the applications that are turned in.
Mm-hmm.
So to have an idea, what we typically do is at the end when it's over, we do have a I guess you would call it an after-action review, follow-up. We look at the data that was provided to us, and that gives us an idea whether or not most of the toys were delivered on the west side or to the east side or the north side or whatever. So we do have a way to kind of monitor that, but again, it rides on the application process, which again, please come to any substation around you and fill out that application, provide the proper ID, and so that we can get Christmas to you.
And the application can be found if you visit sapdbluesanta.org or call your local station, so that way you can speak to an officer to get more details if you can't find the information that you need online.
Tom, do kids think it's strange that Santa's wearing blue instead of red?
You know, I've been asked that question 2,000 or 3,000 times. and my answer is, I don't think they see it. I really don't. They just don't see the blue.
Right.
Well, they see it, but it's Santa Claus, and so I guess if you ask me, yeah, he was wearing something blue, but they just equated it as, hey, Santa's here. That's the way I
Officer
look at it.
Hardin, have you heard any kids talk about that?
No, again, I would strongly agree with Tom. They just see the presents, they see the Santa Claus, they see the joy, they see the officers. So I've never been questioned about why is it blue or red. They just see Santa. They know it's Santa.
I've never heard a child say, "Why are you wearing a blue outfit?" Never.
Yeah.
Will you describe what the scene looks like when you roll up to the front of the house or the apartment and police, open up? Is that how it goes?
Well, not exactly like that, because again, on the application process, we do ask for a phone number. So with that being said, a lot of the officers by default will call and give a heads up, and that way so the family is expecting, because unfortunately our job, sometimes we are knocking on that door to come and maybe investigate or follow up, but so with the option of being able to call ahead, we are able to alert or allow them to know that the police are on the way.
Well, they've got to be home, right?
Yeah,
So
the
you wanna
families
make sure that
are
somebody's
at home, and sometimes schedules and timing, because again, officers are doing this during their shift, so there are times that the families may not be there. So we do put a door hanger there to let them know that we came by, we tried to make an attempt, and we'll try again if time allows. But at the last but not least, if that delivery was not able to make it, we will then reach out to them and schedule them to come into the substations and do basically like a walk-in pickup.
Okay.
So we do everything that we can do to make sure that family gets the present.
And one of the whole points of doing it is to meet and greet with the family and spend time with the family and interact with the family so that they get to know officers in a better situation.
What I would like to know is being able to get to know more stories about what you've experienced on your runs with Blue Santa. But we're going to have to come back with that after this commercial. So don't change that channel. This is Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt. Stay tuned.
Law Talk Radio with Todd Marquardt is sponsored by the Marquardt Law Firm and does not attempt to solve your individual legal problems upon the basis of the information contained herein. Instead, contact an attorney to discuss the specific facts and circumstances of your unique situation. The views and opinions of this program do not reflect the views of the Salem Media Group.
Order in the court. Be seated.
It's time for Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt. Todd Marquardt, attorney at law in Texas. If you're a millionaire or a thousandaire, Talk Law Radio is now on the air. Call in with your business law question, your elder law question, veteran aid, Medicaid, build a business to get paid. 210-308-8867. Or ask a question online at marquardtlawfirm.com. That's MARQUARDT lawfirm.com. And now it's Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt.
And welcome back to Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt. I'm your co-host, Christiana Villegas, and we are interviewing our officers with Blue Santa, Thomas Preston, the founder of Blue Santa, and Alonzio Hardin, who's helped be able to sort the toys and deliver them as well. So why don't you share a little bit with us of some stories that you've been able to have in delivering these toys?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, do you follow up with the families that you meet?
Well, back in the day we did, or if it was like maybe someone from the school, a counselor, gave us the names, we would talk with them and have them follow up. But I don't know what the policy is now. I'd have to.
Well, the follow-up, that's pretty difficult.
Probably depends on the situation.
It just depends on the situation, because I think just on the east side alone last year, Blue Santa alone last year was about 8,000 families that were able to take part in this program. So the follow-up part on it, that would be pretty difficult, for officers to do.
But you do work with school counselors.
Yeah, you work with school counselors, and again, that's an avenue that the school resource officers have to build that relationship with the school counselors or community.
And that's something that you do as part of your day job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you mentioned something about a SAFE program. Will you explain what that is?
Well, the SAFE program, a lot of people have asked me a couple times, well, what does SAFE stand for? Well, the acronym itself is just San Antonio Fear-Free Environment. And these SAFE officers, and like Tom mentioned earlier, what gave birth to SAFE was the community relations part. And so now we have a SAFE unit, and each substation has SAFE officers ranging from 10 to 20 officers, and their main objective is to be ambassadors for the citizens out in the community, as well as strengthen the relationship with the police and the public. So unlike the patrolman who is taking that call after call after call and being dispatched to different scenarios, the SAFE program, we're able to go out and really spend that extra time with the citizens and continue to build that rapport with our citizens out there in the community. So SAFE is a great resource for our community.
Something that they really needed to know about, because the misconception that the police are only there to catch the criminals, but they're there to protect and be a part of the community.
Absolutely.
And these presents aren't just for a couple of families to have a really good Christmas. These gifts are divided so that you can reach those almost 8,000 families, a lot of families, and you've probably seen some families that were in extreme poverty. Do you remember any of situations like that?
Yes, I remember one that it still sticks with me today. You know, when we walked in, and again, this was with the assistance of the Valero, we were not expecting to see what we saw. When we went into the location, there was one couch, there was one bed, and this was a single mother with 4 kids.
Oh.
Wow.
There was no Christmas tree. And the beauty of it, at the end, we ended up racing away on our own time, and we went and picked up a Christmas tree, brought it back, and the officers, along with the volunteers from the Valero, we put up a Christmas tree. And they also had brought in food. It was just an amazing feeling. And of course, there was tears. I cried. They were crying. But to see what some people are living with on a daily basis is sometimes sad. So it's just a wonderful opportunity to be able to walk into a family's life with the spirit of Christmas.
Yeah, I can only imagine from an officer's perspective how they insert themselves in conflict, you know, every day, almost maybe several times a day. And this is an opportunity for officers to participate in the community where there's no conflict.
You know, a lot of these places that I visited mirrored my family. We were very, very, very poor, and it just gives you that extra great feeling that you're able to go in and make a change, do something for them at that time. It's amazing, and it's hard. It's hard on one's heart to walk into a family like he was talking about. You got a single parent. Many of them are single parents, mostly a female raising several kids, 3, 4, 5, whatever number, and it's really, really gut wrenching sometimes to know that, well, you're here, you did this, but you know what's going to happen later, and I'm glad that there's follow up.
Mr. Preston, you've done this the longest, so I wondered if you had met somebody in their later years, like after they grew up.
Well, yes, I've had a lot of that because of the different jobs that I've, the Blue Santa, I've had folks come up and say, you brought toys and food to my house. I did a lot of substitute teaching in the San Antonio Independent School District. I've had now the grandfathers come up and say, hey, Officer Preston, I'm still an Officer Preston. And started an Explorer program, and I've had many ex-explorers become police officers, and they're retired now. And they I get it a lot. Hey, you come to my house. I still get it. I'm 76 years old, and I still get it. But I'm proud of it. I love the San Antonio Police Department. The men and women in it. My life wouldn't be what it is today without my experience. All my experiences on the San Antonio Police Department.
So then it's a very rare experience that most people have to wait once a year in order to try and even catch a glimpse at Santa. And over here in San Antonio, you're almost seeing all year round. But as we talk about Blue Santa, this is Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt. We have a couple of questions, though, of what ifs can be encountered in your runs and deliveries.
Yeah, these are just silly questions that I dreamed up when I was thinking about interviewing you guys. If I woke up in the middle of the night on Christmas Eve and I saw a guy in a red suit, should I call the police?
Yes. Yes.
What time is it?
Right. Unless I had asked him to be there.
If you had not asked Santa
I'd
to
call.
be there and there were no milk and cookies left for Santa, definitely call the police.
That could be a ruse. I'm sure it's been done
Yeah.
before. So I'm like, yeah, I would call the police.
Well, and when I was asking about this earlier, you said you've never really seen that, but you do have the problem with the Grinch and the Porch Pirates
Yes.
during this time of year. What can people do if they've lost something like that?
And if they can't afford a ring,
Do they call the police if they've lost their package?
Yes, absolutely. Still make an unreported call does more damage than reporting. I mean, if we don't know, we can't investigate, we can't follow up, we can't look into it. And unfortunately, as you mentioned, the Porch Pirates, yes, it happens all throughout the year. You hear it on the news all the time, but I would imagine that it does increase even more during the Christmas time with so many people getting packages. And even for those that do not or are not able to afford the camera systems and whatnot, I would just encourage, that's why it is so important to be involved in your community. Know your neighbor, knock on the door, talk, and share information, because sometimes that can be a bigger deterrent than the camera system, because you have that nosy neighbor who can tell you who's come by the house and whatnot. So, yeah.
There's no way any police department can be successful without the eyes and ears of the citizens. You can be on X Street driving in your patrol car and there's a burglary on Y Street. You know, the only way you would know about that is if somebody on Y Street saw it and called the police. So it's any police department would not be effective without the help of the citizens.
Our show here today is sponsored by Marquardt Law Firm, and at Marquardt Law Firm we focus on business and estate law. That includes last wills, living trusts, and estate plans. I like to ask people about their legacy, whatever that word means to you. For me, the legacy for my middle son, Thomas, is going to be my baseball card collection. It's going to be the deer head trophies on my wall. For my daughter, it'll be my books. We both love to read. And aside from all of the stuff that I have or the money that I have left when I pass, I hope the legacy that they remember from me is that I shared my faith with them and with everybody that I knew, and that they were important to me, and I tried my best to take care of them. Officer Hardin, what would you say one of your legacies is going to be to your family or to the city?
To the family, more so. If you would have asked me as a little boy, was I going to be a police officer? No. But to be able to grow up and serve my country in the Army, come back home to the side of town that I grew up in and become a police officer and go out and serve the community, for me, I want my children to know, my parents to know that I strive to make a difference in my community, because I grew up seeing things that were very bad, and you know, but I want them to understand that exposure is very important, and my legacy would just be that, for them to know that their father was out here every day doing what he could do individually, because it takes one and then that turns into another, but to know that their father is out here making a difference.
That's awesome. Thank you.
what about you, Tom? Just something in 20 seconds.
Well, I would want the only thing you can take with you is your reputation when you die, and I would want my family to remember me as a giver and someone that loved them unconditionally, and that's what I do. I'm a giver.
Thank you so much.
Well, whatever your legacy may be out there, if it involves participating with Blue Santa, visit sapdbluesanta.org, but visit talklawradio.com anytime to catch our episodes, and every Saturday at 11. See you the next time on Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt.